In the years after World War II, the world told itself a comforting story, that the worst human experiments ended with the fall of Nazi Germany, that science learned its lesson, that justice had been served. But there was another place on the other side of the world, where experiments just as real happened behind locked gates, and where no trials ever followed. Not because the truth was unknown, but because it was inconvenient. This is the true story of Unit 731. Before the war, Japan was rapidly expanding its empire across East Asia. With expansion came new problems. Soldiers fell sick more often than they died in battle. Diseases spread through camps, epidemics slowed entire operations. Military leaders began to realize something unsettling. A bullet kills one person. Disease can destroy an army without firing a shot. One man understood this better than anyone else. His name was Shiro Ishii. He was a trained doctor, highly educated, ambitious, and persuasive. Ishii believed that the future of warfare would not be decided by firepower alone, but by biology. If a nation could understand how the human body failed, it could weaponize that failure. Ishii convinced the Japanese military that disease could become a strategic tool. Not by accident, but by design. The idea was simple in theory and horrifying in practice. Study how the human body reacts to extreme conditions, remove ethical limits, and turn that knowledge into military advantage. The military approved. Quietly and without public oversight, they funded a project that officially did not exist. In occupied Manchuria, near the city of Harbin, a large compound was constructed. On paper, it was described as a water purification and disease prevention facility. Locals saw fences, guards, and ordinary-looking buildings. Nothing about it suggested what was happening inside. This facility was called Unit 731. It was not a small operation. It had laboratories, holding cells, operating rooms, furnaces, and its own internal security. Doctors, technicians, and soldiers worked there full-time. Everything operated under strict secrecy. Those assigned to Unit 731 understood one rule clearly: nothing that happened inside was ever to leave. The people brought into the compound were prisoners. Some were civilians from occupied territories. Some were captured soldiers, men, women, and children. Inside the facility, they were never referred to as people. They were called logs. The language mattered. Once someone is no longer human in name, it becomes easier to remove moral limits. Doctors told themselves they were not harming people. They were studying material. That mental shift allowed everything that followed. The purpose of Unit 731 was not treatment, it was observation. Doctors wanted to know how the human body responded to stress, illness, and trauma. They wanted results that were precise and uncontaminated. That meant no pain relief, no intervention, no expectation of survival. Experiments were conducted under controlled conditions. Data was recorded carefully. Notes were written neatly. Charts were updated. The environment was clinical and orderly. There was no chaos, no rebellion, just routine. No one inside Unit 731 was meant to leave alive. Once data was collected, the subject was removed. Evidence was destroyed. The process repeated. This went on for years. Secrecy was absolute. Nearby communities had no idea what the compound truly was. Even many military personnel outside the unit were unaware of its purpose. Silence was maintained through classification, loyalty, and fear. Everyone involved understood that speaking out would have consequences. As World War II turned against Japan, Unit 731 did not slow down. If anything, urgency increased. The closer defeat came, the more dangerous the situation became. In 1945, as Allied forces advanced and Japan's surrender became inevitable, orders were issued. Destroy the facilities, eliminate evidence, leave nothing behind. Buildings were blown up, documents were burned, remaining prisoners were killed. The physical presence of Unit 731 vanished almost overnight. What remained were the people who ran it. After the war, Allied investigators learned about Japan's biological research. They interviewed former Unit 731 members. They knew what had happened, they understood the scale, and then a decision was made that would define the fate of this story for decades. The data collected by Unit 731 was considered valuable. It could not be recreated without violating ethics. It represented years of research conducted without limits. Instead of trials, a deal was offered. In exchange for their research findings, the doctors of Unit 731 would not be prosecuted. There would be no courtroom, no public confessions, no sentences. While Nazi doctors were tried and convicted, the men behind Unit 731 returned to civilian life. Some became professors, some worked in hospitals, some advised institutions, They lived openly, respected, untouched.
The victims had no official names.
No memorials, no compensation. For years, Japan denied Unit 731 existed at all. School textbooks avoided it. Government statements dismissed it. Survivors were ignored or discredited. The silence was nearly complete. It was not until decades later, in the late 20th century, that cracks appeared. Former members began to speak. Documents surfaced, witnesses came forward. The truth became harder to deny. But by then, most of those responsible were already dead. Justice never came. What makes Unit 731 truly terrifying is not only what happened there, but how easily it happened. Educated people, organized systems, government approval, no madness, no chaos, just obedience and ambition combined with silence. It shows that intelligence does not prevent cruelty, that progress without ethics can become something dangerous, and that history does not always forget by accident. Sometimes it forgets by agreement. Unit 731 was real, it was deliberate, it was organized, and it was nearly erased, not because it was unknown, but because too many people decided it was better not to look. The most frightening stories are not the ones we imagine, but the ones we almost succeeded in hiding.
Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.